Well, we are almost done with our notes for slope. In fact, this is the last day of notes for slope. So let's get looking at this. Now, if you're in the habit of doing things, hopefully like I've been showing you, then you should have a few things set up. Whenever you see something like this, number one, the slope is 7. So look, I'm just going to write m equals 7. It says the y-intercept is -2. So what I need to do is I need to write b equals -2. And remember, what we're doing is we're plugging into this template, y equals mx plus b. Now, if you've already written this, hopefully you've written in pencil so you can do what I'm about to do. Well, I have this m here. Well, I don't really want my m. So what I want is a number. And I know over here that m is 7. So I'm going to erase the m, and then I'm going to put in 7. All right. Now, the b, again, I know that b is -2. So what I'm going to do is, now let me just show you. Technically, I could write plus -2. But that's a whole lot of extra writing, and it doesn't look good. We like to simplify things a little more than that in math. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that whole term as just -2. Well, there's your answer. Y equals 7x minus 2. So here, let's look at number 2. The slope is 0. M equals 0. The y-intercept, that's my b, equals 9.18. And what I want to see on your papers every single time, if they give you something like this, write out the m, write out the b. What does it equal? So now, I'm going to come over here, and don't write this out just yet. Wait until after I've got this done, because I'm going to be making some changes. But I want you to see why I'm making the changes. So I'm going to write this out as y equals, and then instead of m, I've got 0x, and then my b is plus 9.18. All right. So if I have 0 x's, that really doesn't, it just means it's 0. And 0 plus 9.18 is 9.18. So what I've got here is a situation where technically it's not wrong, but what we want to do is we want to clean this up, and we're going to write it as y equals 9.18. So whenever you see y equals and then a constant like this, we know that the slope is 0. And let's go back and review. If the slope is 0, what is that going to be? Is it going to be a horizontal line, a vertical line, or a slanted line? Well, I hope all of you said a vertical line. Oh, that's not a very good vertical line. Let's try that again. So, it'll be, a horizontal line. There we go. It should be a line kind of like that. Hopefully your line is straighter than mine. All right. So, number 3. I'm going to show you, number 3, the way that we have been doing it. And then when we get to number 4 and 5, I'm going to show you a different way that hopefully you'll like better. What I've shown you so far is how do you create an equation from 2 points like this, and I've been making you go through the process so you understand how things work. I am about ready to show you something in a minute that will make your life much easier. All right, so the first thing I do is I use my slope formula, and if you remember my slope formula, slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what I'll do is I'll call this, let me make this, this will be point 1, and this will be point 2. So now what I'll do is I'll take my y from point 2. Okay, so my y from point 2 is 4. That goes there. That's this place right here. And then I'll take my x from point 2, that's 6. That's this one right here. And now I'll put in my values from point 1. Notice point 1 is here in the red. My y value, this is always going to be minus, and then 1. And then my x value, right here, is going to be minus 3. So 4 minus 1, let's do this in a neutral color. We're going to go back to black. 4 minus 1 is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. And so now I know that my slope, and I'm going to write it over here, slope equals 1. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in to my point slope formula. So watch what I do, and I'm going to make some erasures and change things, but watch what I do, and then in a minute just pause the video and go back and write in. So here I have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Alright, I can actually pick either one of these points, but if I pick this one, the red one, then I must use the x and the y from the same point here. I must use both of those. If I pick this one, the second one, then I just have to use the x and the y from that one. I can't take an x from one and a y from another. Alright, so let's just, to make it easy, let's do number 1, the red one. So what I'm going to do is in place of y1, I'm going to take my value right there, 1. Okay, in place of x1, I'm going to take my x value from that same point. That's 3. All right, so I'm going to put it in there, 3. All right, now at this point, stop the video, go ahead and write out this equation. I just wanted you to see how I got it. All right, hopefully you've come back now. Now, oh, I'm sorry, I needed to do one more thing. I needed to change that slope. And actually the slope is just 1, like that. So I was a little premature, but hopefully that didn't mess you up too much. Just erase your m or scratch it out and put the 1. Alright, so 1 doesn't change anything here. So my equation, when I simplify it, becomes y minus 1 equals, and then 1 times x is x, and 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. So what I have to do now is I have to isolate the y. So on this, I would simply add 1 and add 1. And what I get from there, I get y equals x, and then negative 3 plus 1 is minus 2. So here is my final answer in slope-intercept form. Alright, now, number 4. Here's where things get really interesting. Here's where it gets easy. And once you've learned the process, then you'll understand. So, make sure you're going to write down the steps that we use for this. We're going to use a statistics function here, and if you notice this button on your calculator, it says stat. So I'm going to press the stat, and I should see edit, and I'm just going to hit enter. Stat, enter. And here you see L1 for list 1, that's going to be our x values, and L2, that's going to be our list 2 or our y values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take negative 24 and put it in here for my first x value and hit enter. Notice it popped up there. And I'm going to come over here to the next point and I'm going to put in negative 8, and then I'm going to press enter. So I've got my x values in. It's time for me to go to my y values. I need to do these in the same order that I put in my x values. So with my negative 24, right next door I should have negative 11. Negative 11 and enter. And then I have the negative 8 here, right next door we have negative 3. Enter. All right. So remember, it is stat enter to get to the table, and then watch this. The stat button. We're going to go right to the calculator functions, and we're going to press number 4 for linear regression. Stat right for enter. Now, look what they have given us. Texas Instruments uses A instead of M for the slope, but we can copy this just like it is right there, and I'm going to write Y equals, but instead of the A here, I'm writing this. I don't like decimals, but we can deal with it. 0.5, notice the X is there. We must follow with the X, and then it's plus 1. All right. So what I want you to write is, so to create a table, it's the stat enter. All right. You need to memorize these. I cannot stress enough. Memorize how to do this in your calculator. And then to find the equation. Find equation. Oh, and then I need to put up here X in L1 and Y in L2. All right, so now to find our equation, we're going to press stat, the right button, the number 4, and then enter. Stat right 4, enter. So take a moment, make sure you write that down. I need to get my calculator going back again. We're not saving changes of that. All right, we're almost there. Let's get that calculator going again. Let's do number 5. Number 5, we're going to do this the same way. So I'm going to press stat, enter to get to my table. I'm going to put in my X values. Negative 4.5. Oh, clear that out. Negative 4.5. Enter, and then negative 12.3, enter. Now for my Y values, and make sure whatever's next door to negative 4.5 up here is next door in your table. Don't mix them up. Otherwise, this doesn't work. Your calculator only uses the information you put in. So 2. Now, when we look at this, we should see something here. Oh, look, this is not changing. So what does that mean? Let's see what it means. So we're going to do stat right 4, enter. So notice, what is my X value? My X value is 0. So I don't even need to write my X in there. I just need to write my equation Y equals 2. All right, number 6. We have the slope is negative 1/2 and a line passes through the point 50. I'm going to go ahead and close out my calculator for right now. Maximize this so that we can see it better. It's larger for you. All right. So the slope is negative 1/2 and the line passes through 50. We're going to put that into our Y minus, there we get our Y value, 0 equals 1/2 times X minus, and then our X value, 5. So let's do this. Y minus 0 is Y. Now we need to distribute. Oh, I need to make this negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times X is negative 1/2 X, and then negative times negative 1/2 times negative 5 gives us a positive, so I'm going to make that plus 2.5. All right, number 8. Number 8, At Big Bob's Bowling Center, the cost to bowl 4 games, not including the shoe rental, is $8.40, and the cost to rent shoes is $1.15. All right, so the thing that never changes, you're only going to rent shoes once per day, so that's going to be our beginning point. Before you even bowl a game, you have to rent your shoes. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to write B equals $1.15. All right, because we're only doing that, and you do that before you bowl. All right, so here we have this strange construction, $8.40 to bowl 4 games. All right, so what does it cost to bowl 1 game? Let's figure that out first. Well, we would simply say $8.40 divided by 4, and that comes out to $2.10 per game. So that means my slope for each game is $2.10. So here I have, they want us to use C for cost, N for games. Our C here is going to be our dependent variable. So let's start with our dependent variable is $2.10. I'll go ahead and put the 0, I don't need to, times the number of games, let me put that right here for you, N, plus $1.15. And of course we could also write that as C equals, you could begin with the beginning, $1.15 plus $2.10 per game. All right, what is the y-intercept? Well, we already figured that up here. B, y-intercept. It's 0, 1.15. That is the coordinate, and it represents, well, what is $1.15? Well, that's shoe rental. That's shoe rental. All right, what is the slope of the equation? Well, we found that up here. M, it's $2.10, and I'm just going to write 2.1 because we don't need the 0. And what does it represent? That is the cost per game. The cost per game. So now it asks, what is the cost of renting shoes and bowling 6 games? Well, how do we find that out? Well, we go back to our equation. We have the cost equals 210 times the number of games. So we're not putting in that variable because we know what the variable's value is. The value is 6. It's 6 games plus $1.15. So if we go to simplify that, that becomes 210 times 6 becomes 1260 plus the $1.15. And when we simplify that, 1260 plus $1.15 becomes $13.75 to bowl 6 games. All right, number 11. Tony paid $7.45 for his game and shoe rental. How many games did he bowl? Well, we don't know how many games, but we do know the total cost. So when we go to our equation, instead of putting in C, we're going to put in the $7.45 equals 210 times the number of games plus $1.15. All right, let's go back to our calculator and see if we can figure this out. We can figure this out mathematically, but let's put this in to our calculator and see what we come up with. So let's get a new calculator session going, and we're going to plug this in. So now I'm going to go to my y equals, and I'm going to put in my 2.1. Well, I don't have an n down here. I've got this x up here. That's my independent variable up here. And then plus $1.15. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my table, second graph. Now here I have x values, that's number of games. Y values, total cost. So we see right here, 0, before I even bowl one game, I have to pay my $1.15 for shoes. Now, let's look. It's 7:45. I'm going to come down here, 7:45, and I see that it's right there. That's 7:45. I'm going to go right one to see how many games that is. Oh, and look at that. It is 3 games. 3 games. So, 3 games cost $7.45. All right. Finally, we're up here. Today is Barry's birthday. Barry's grandfather gave him some money as a birthday gift. Barry says he will put his birthday money in a safe place and add part of his allowance to it each week. His sister, Betty, asked him how much his grandfather gave him and how much of his allowance he is planning to save each week. Barry does not answer his sister directly. Instead, he gave her some information and let her puzzle out the answer herself. Well, isn't that the way to do things? Make a puzzle out of it. Number 12. Barry tells Betty that he will save the same amount of allowance each week. He says that after 5 weeks, he will have saved a total of $1.75. After 8 weeks, he will have saved $190. Well, let's think about this. How much money is Barry planning to save each week? Well, let's see. If we figure he has $190 after 8 weeks, and we have $175 after 5 weeks, the difference, we're going to divide by 3, because the difference is each week he's saving a certain amount. So from 5 weeks to 8 weeks is 3 weeks. So we're going to put that here. And we come up with 190 minus 175 equals 15 divided by 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, the difference is $15. So that means he saves $5 per week. Now, whenever you see that per, I'm telling you guys, please start looking at this. Whenever you see that per, let's start thinking. Is this going to be an independent variable? What is our slope? Well, we're getting there. But per week, $5. Think about it. All right, how much money did Barry's grandfather give him for his birthday? Oh my goodness. Well, how do we figure this out? Well, we know that after 5 weeks he had $175. So we need to figure out how much did Barry save in that time. Well, if he saves $5 per week and it was 5 weeks, 5 times 5 is 25. So if we subtract what Barry put in, so we're going to take out Barry's allowance part. So take out the part that Barry contributed. Let's say that. The part that Barry contributed. And then we're going to say this is the total savings after 5 weeks. Okay, so the total savings after 5 weeks, the part that Barry contributed to that is 25. So we find out here that Grandpa gave him $150. So that was his initial or starting amount before he started saving. Initial amount. I better be thinking constant, or my b in y equals mx plus b. So let's look. Number 12, we already talked about this. The slope is going to be 5. That's how much Barry contributes. B, the beginning contribution from Grandpa is 150. Now, it tells us it wants us to use N for the number of weeks and M for the total amount saved. Well, let's think about this. The total amount saved depends on the number of weeks that Barry puts money in. So if the total amount depends, it is the dependent variable, which means it's going to go in place of the Y. The dependent variable money is $150 that he began with, B for began, plus the $5 per week, and I would like to use W, but we're using N. That's what the problem tells us. So here is our equation. We can use this to find any number of things. After so many weeks, how much money does he have? If he has this much money, how many weeks did he have to save? Well, good luck, and get on with slope. By the way, go back, make sure you have written down those calculator tricks that I showed you. Take care.